My assistant would jump in here and tell you guys all the ways I procrastinate. She knows, believe me.
Yeah, well, you are a very busy woman, so I don't know if you're quite procrastinating. And
There's certain things though, I don't know about you, but I get on these certain things I just cannot get done, so
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Welcome to The Way of the Muse, a podcast for women who want to create richness in every area of their lives, from business and career to lifestyle, relationships, family, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm Gigi Sage.
And I'm Makena Sage. We're a mother-daughter coaching team, and combined, we've spent over 4 decades helping people create their best and most fully expressed lives. If you're ready to step into your bigger dreams with ease, fun, and flow, you're in the right place. Let's get into the episode.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Makena.
Hi, Gigi. Welcome back.
Yeah.
To another episode.
And welcome back to you. Where were you the last week?
I was in Hawaii for my baby moon. So it was super fun. We went for 6 days to Kauai and 2 days to Maui, which is where I was born, actually. So it was really fun to go back and visit and explore a new island as well. So very relaxing.
And did you like it?
I loved it. Yeah. And we had our maternity photo shoot. So that was fun. First photo shoot in a while.
Can't wait to see that. That's going to be so fun. I love this baby moon thing. This is just something I've learned about in the last, 4 years since Mariah did that and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably in the last 10 years or something become a thing. Okay. I don't think it was really something people did before, but
I mentioned to a couple people, they're like, what?
To go, especially before the first baby. It's nice to get that time with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about our good topic today. I think it's one that everybody can relate to.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about overcoming procrastination. So if you ever feel like putting stuff off or can't seem to get it done, then today's episode is for you. Or if you have someone in your life who struggles with this.
My assistant would jump in here and tell you guys all the ways I procrastinate. She knows, believe me.
Yeah, well, you are a very busy woman, so I don't know if you're quite procrastinating. And
there's certain things though, I don't know about you, but I get on these certain things I just cannot get done, so It's so funny. Yeah.
Definitely.
So how this came up, this episode is started with a conversation in one of our alumni groups for our coaching certification program. What happened is one of the trained coaches said she had a client that was struggling with procrastination. And so she wanted strategies to support her. And this really spiraled into a big conversation. Remember, Makena? Yeah, everyone has started chiming in and they all started sharing about their clients and for themselves. And so, you really went in and actually made that the topic in one of the alumni sessions, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we realized, wow, this is really a big topic for people. Yeah. So probably one we should talk about. I'll talk more about the session in a minute. But first, I just want to say that procrastination usually shows up in a couple of different ways. There are a lot of reasons that we procrastinate, and I will talk about those in a little while. But the way it shows up is usually either putting something off until the last minute. I think that's like the cliche of procrastination is like, I don't want, you're putting it off. And then if you have a deadline or some reason you have to do something, then you get it done at the last minute. And then sometimes we don't get it done at all, and that's maybe the least ideal scenario. And then there's also productive procrastination, which many of us are familiar with. This is where you're getting a lot done. You're just getting everything done except the thing that you really need to be doing. So if any of those, again, show up for you, then we've got some great strategies for you today. And I do want to say before we go further, I am pregnant, as most of you know, and I'm out of breath a lot today. So if I'm huffing and puffing, then That's what's going on.
Yeah. She's okay. She's all right.
I'm good. I'm just working those extra cardio of a baby in my belly.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I said earlier, we ended up actually devoting one of the ongoing education classes to this topic. And McKenna, I wasn't on that, but you said it turned out to be really, really great. And so we're going to share some of the things that you all went through on that call.
Yeah, definitely. And we went through a lot, and some of what we shared on that call, we are going to share today in a different context, because of course there we were working with our coaches who are trained in our coaching methodology, the aliveness method. And so we were really talking about it a lot in the context of how they could support their clients with procrastination. So we'll kind of flip that today and show you how you can use some of those strategies with yourself. But I did get in and also do a little bit of coaching with the women themselves. And so I wanted to share a couple of those stories or scenarios to illustrate different reasons why you might be procrastinating and how you might move through it. So one of the women wasn't clear when we dug in deeper to like, what's going on here? Why are you putting this off? There was a program she wanted to create, and she was just kind of putting it off, spinning her wheels. And when we talked about it and I coached her around it, we saw she wasn't actually 100% clear on which program she wanted to make first. She had two different ideas. And so she was bouncing back and forth in her head all the time and going, I don't really know which one. But the story she was telling herself was that she was just putting it off. And when we got down into it, I was like, well, why don't we get you clear on which one to start with? So we helped her get clear. And as soon as she had the clarity, then it was like, oh, okay, now I know the next steps to take, right? And I can go take those steps. So sometimes there is this aspect of a lack of clarity in order to move forward. But that might be showing up as just a feeling of being stuck. Another woman was thinking about starting a foundation, a nonprofit, and had really been encouraged by some people in her life to do that. She has a business already, and she was really excited about the idea. But when we dug in deeper to see what was holding her back, she saw she hadn't really fully thought it through yet. And there was some hesitation there because she was like, I don't know how much work this is going to be. And basically, she wasn't 100% all in. She was like, this is a big thing. I don't know yet 100% if I'm ready to do it. But she thought she was hesitating because she was being lazy or, just again, putting something off. But the truth was she didn't have all the information to make a decision yet.
So, both of those have to do with clarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Both of them had to do with, not completely getting clear about something, which is an interesting perspective, I think. So I think as the listener listens to this, what they could do is think about if you are procrastinating, why are you procrastinating? Because, like in these examples you're giving here, McKenna, they might have seen if they asked that question, instead of just assuming they were being, lazy or whatever, they might have come to their own truths there. Yeah. Or,
absolutely.
Another question, another way of putting it is, why are you putting this off? Why are you putting it off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we looked at that, and you can look at that, like Gigi's saying, for yourself. And so with that first woman, again, I helped her get clear on the answer. She immediately felt like she could move forward. So sometimes you just need a sounding board or a trusted person or maybe a coach that can help you get an outside perspective. Because even if she had gotten clear, like, oh, I need to know which program I'm going to create first, she might not have been able to come to that answer on her own. She needed that outside perspective and feedback to really help her see. And then with the second one, we made a plan for how she could approach getting that information, gathering more information. She had some mentors and people that she could talk to who had foundations to decide, was she all in? Was she going to go for this or not? And then something you really taught me, Gigi, and we use with our clients a lot, is to set a date by when you're going to make a decision. So you're not just leaving it open-ended and just staying in the information gathering stage, which can actually become a form of procrastination. But you say, okay, within 30 days or 60 days, then I'm going to decide one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's really rarely, again, about laziness. It's And I think that's the story that we tell ourselves. Do you ever tell yourself that story?
I don't think I'm lazy in any sense of the word.
Okay. I definitely have that story.
That's true. No, sometimes I do. I don't know if I do. Have I told you? Have I ever said that to you? Maybe I have one time.
You have.
Yeah. Right now I don't feel lazy at all.
But do you get hard on yourself about not doing things?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. Yeah.
What's the hard on yourself? How does that show up for you?
Oh, I just think, I don't think I'm lazy. I just think a lot of times I don't want to do some of the things I have to do. So I wait and I get hard on myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should just do it. Just get on it and do it. What are you waiting for? Right? What are you waiting for? So, but some of that is, I already do so much. I want a little break or something like that. So,
so it's different forms of like the stories we tell ourselves of like, or ways that we're hard on ourselves. But in reality, again, it's often not that we're just not doing it. It's like you are very busy, or as we'll talk about in some of the strategies, maybe there are areas where you need support or you need somebody else in there with you or whatever it might take. So again, we'll share some different ways that you can approach that as we go forward. Yeah. So Gigi, you want to share some of the questions that they could start to journal on?
Yes, absolutely. So what is stopping you from doing this or moving this forward? So think about that. What is it if you're hesitating and you just can't seem to get it there and make something happen? And what exactly comes up when you think about it and then you don't take the action?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you just forgetting? Are you confused what to do? Do you have enough information to make the decision? Like Makena shared that story and to go all in. Maybe you're not clear about the project. You're not, like you said, 100% that you want to do it. And I know I often fall into this category, like trying to make a decision between two things and not knowing. And this for me is where I need a sounding board because I'm one of those external processors.
I'm definitely an external processor too. There's some people who can, if you're listening to this and you're the kind of person that you can work through things on your own and come to your own clarity, that's amazing.
It's amazing. I wish
one of my sisters is this way, and I'm like, wow, how does she do that? I'm like, I need to talk everything out, you and I both, right? To get clear. So thank goodness we have each other and our coaches, and and then we do this with a lot of our clients, right? So help them get clear. So another thing you can think about, and these are questions, again, you can journal on, you can sit down and meditate on, whatever your process is what kind of system could you put in place to help move this forward? Or like we said, what support do you need? So for example, if you keep forgetting to do something, can you set an alarm on your phone to go off at the same time every day and remind you to do that? Or if you're someone that lives by your calendar, like I do, then can you put it into your calendar? And we see this so often with clients is, they'll say they want to do something, and then until they put it in their calendar or they set that reminder or that alarm on their phone, then it just keeps not happening. And the minute they do that, usually the odds of them getting that thing done increase exponentially. Another kind of system would be, like we said, just talking it through with someone, knowing who that person is, that sounding board.
Yeah. So we actually have a process that we take our clients through, which is called scenario thinking. And I want to just give a little background about that. How I created that is I read a book called Synchronicity by Joe Jaworski back in the 90s. And the book really changed my life. And one of the things that he talked about is when they went into Dutch Royal Shell and they started doing these different scenarios of ways they could handle specific problems. And in that moment, I thought that would be a very fascinating thing to do with my coaches. So I changed it up a little bit in terms of the way I do it. And now what we do is we take people through this, and it's super powerful because you go through the different scenarios that you're thinking about of either going for something or not. And so you walk yourself all the way through that from beginning till end on both things. And what happens is in that you get a lot of clarity from it. And often what we see is it's a little bit of both, that people take pieces from both of the scenarios. And the other thing is, do you just need someone like you talked about, Makena, that is there to inspire you to get things done? Like that for me also is something that I really, really love, is working with someone. It makes me just, I think, so much more effective. And so can you invite a friend over and you both work on your taxes together, and then that way you're doing something that you really don't want to do, but you have someone there and you're doing together. You can have a glass of wine and make a little party, right?
Yeah, I do this a lot with things that are more, taxes would be one thing that's like you have to be focused on that. So you guys probably be silent sitting next to each other. What were you going to say?
Well, we're not doing our own taxes either, right? So
no.
Yeah.
It was an example for people who do put something like that off. But I'm saying that, that's something that requires more concentration. For me, if it's something that doesn't require mental concentration, I talk on the phone a lot. So I'll call you, or I'll call my mother-in-law or my sister or somebody, my friend, and catch up. And I love talking on the phone. And that is totally distracting to me in the right kind of way, where, okay, then I'll unpack my suitcases or I'll do all the things around the house that I've been putting off. So that's one of my favorite strategies.
I love that. Yeah.
So those are some journaling questions. Again, I'll just recap them. So what is stopping you from doing this or moving this forward? What exactly comes up when you think about it and don't take action? Are you just forgetting? Are you confused? Do you not have enough information to make a decision? And then what kind of system could you put in place, or what support do you need? So the flip side of this is and all of these questions, by the way, are questions that we use in our coaching, right? Or we have our coaches use with their clients. So we're just turning them around and having you do some self-reflection on them. So on the other side, it's also great to look at, why do you want this, right? Why do you want to do this? It's like, if you're kidding yourself about it, if, my suitcases, this is a big one for me that I procrastinate on. I'm getting better, but I will come home, and if I don't unpack my suitcase right away, it is there for at least a week. And so if I look in and I go, well, why do I want to unpack my suitcase, right? Well, if the answer is I don't really want to, it doesn't matter that much to me, then the reality is I'm probably not going to do it. And I might as well let myself off the hook, right? And just relax around it and do it whenever I get to it, when I get so sick of having, stuff in the suitcase and I want it out again. So, or you might dig in and see, like in the example of, let's say, starting that foundation, why do you want to do it? If she has a big why and she really gathers the other information, then that why is really powerful, because if you connect to that, then that helps you have the energy and the inspiration to move the project forward. The other one is now the time. Are you really ready to go for this now and to go all in? And Gigi, I feel like you could talk a little about this idea of all in, because I'm sure I probably got it from you originally. But this idea of like, are you all in or are you all out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all in means, there's no one foot out the door. We've all had those experiences, maybe in relationships at one point in your life where you had one foot in and one foot out, or in, you decide on a business opportunity and you decide and then you question yourself. So all in is once you make that choice, you don't question yourself again. You fully participate, you go 100% in, because anything less than that will affect the results of whatever you're doing. So the all in allows for the brain to quit thinking and measuring, should I or shouldn't I? And it allows you to fully be present and then to really be also productive. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I love it. It's been such a powerful concept for me in so many areas of my life, in my relationship and in business. There were ways that I used to be one foot in, one foot out in different parts of my life. And when I learned this concept of all in, it just made things so much easier. And here's the thing about it that I love is it's either all in or all out. It's not that you have to go all in on something. It's that if it's not the time or you're really not ready to commit, then you set it aside for now. So that's kind of the next question, is you don't do this, what will happen? Is there some kind of natural consequence? Or will you just say, okay, if I don't do this within the next 30 days, then I'm going to set it aside, right? And I'm going to take it off my mental list and stop kind of going around and around about it, because these things start to take up so much space in our brains. That's a big thing, is like all the things we're putting off. We see this with clients a lot, is they take up a lot of space in our like mental space and emotional space.
Yeah. And like you're talking about, it's a painful place to be, when you don't make a choice to either go for it or not, because you do constantly think about it and it drains the energy, and then it takes away from your productivity. It takes away from your presence. And so it's so important. I just got off a call with a client and talked to her about that, is, so much of people's lives is we carry these things around, or we hesitate to make decisions, and then we process and process and process. And we just waste so much time where, doing just what we're talking about here, actually looking at the questions, walking through that process, and then consciously choosing. I'm all about that. Consciously choose to either go in or not go in, and then set it aside.
Yeah. And I think there is a distinction between this, though, and like information gathering, because I think sometimes there is a stage in, let's say, dreaming up the business you want to start, or, thinking about a different project you might do or something like that, where you are ideating and you're gathering information. And that's a really important part of the process. So that's not necessarily procrastination. But you do want to, at some point, a lot of times, either put a timeline around deciding if you're going to go for it now, or I think where it becomes procrastination is where we start being hard on ourselves about not doing it. And so if that's what you're doing and you're mentally going around and around, then that's what Gigi's saying is to really see, can you either go all in, or can you set it aside so it's not taking up that mental energy? I did want to say, though, that for some people, procrastination is kind of their style.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, if you were the kind of person that always studied for a test the night before, but you still passed or even got straight A's maybe, then maybe that just works for you, And then I think people grow up, so to speak. They get into the quote unquote real world and they start telling themselves they should be doing it differently. But if that's your approach and it works for you and you do get things done before the deadline, then why not just relax around that and like stop pressuring yourself to do something different? But I will say that only works if you have a deadline or if you have some sort of external accountability. Because if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a coach or you don't have anybody in your life that's helping hold you accountable, then that's probably not going to work, because you don't have any kind of deadlines, right? Or any kind of external reason to really go for it. So, and the other thing is, after a while of doing things that way, you may naturally, if you relax around it, you may naturally kind of get tired of doing everything last minute and start to shift it. But you're not going to shift it out of being hard on yourself. It's going to come much more easily if you just kind of give in to the way that you're, give in to the procrastination a little bit, see if you can get it done anyway. And then maybe something will shift there, or maybe that's just your approach.
Yeah. We're so good at labeling things and then making ourselves wrong with them, right? That's what we do so much of the time. So just don't do the label of I'm procrastinating, like you said, just go with the energy of how you're approaching it and see if it works for you. Does it, do you feel good about it? Does it work? Does it get you the result you want? Then you become, again, more observing instead of labeling and then going internal and beating yourself up or whatever.
Yeah. Because again, that wastes energy, right? So much of this stuff is like, we want to clear that out. So you're not wasting all that time and that energy, and that you're doing the thing or you're not doing it and you feel good about it. And
feel good about it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and a final note is, listen, people have their own timing. So much of our coaching is, we help people walk through so they really, really get clear, about whether they want to go for something or not. And like we've touched on, otherwise these ideas or projects are constantly in the back of their heads, and it just becomes this mental list in the back of their head forever. And this is something I have to say and kind of pat ourselves on the back. We're really brilliant at. We're so good at helping people clear out the clutter and really get clear and take action on the things they want to do and put aside the things they don't and take it off their list. And that's why I think when people come and work with us, one of the results is so powerful is it feels like first they think it's going to be so much more time, right? But then what happens is it actually opens time for them and opens space for them.
Yeah, because we are clearing all of those things in their head, and they are, again, taking action on what's most important to them, setting the other things aside. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but that is definitely one aspect of why people come in thinking it's going to be so much more extra work and time. And it actually feels like they have more time on their hands.
And they have more ease. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah. So think about how much time are you spending right now being hard on yourself about, the things you're not doing, or going around and around about something you've wanted to do for a long time, but you're not taking action on. And what if you could clear that up? So some of the questions that we asked today will really help you dig deeper. And then, again, maybe you need to get support, or you have to try some different things on here. But I think, again, just taking the labels out of things and doing it or not doing it.
Yeah.
So that is our pretty short and sweet episode today. I think we were very concise because we already led a call on this recently.
Yeah. And so thank you all so much for our listeners. And, I'd love to make a request. If you are listening to us and you really love one of our episodes, please go in and actually, put what do you call it? Not testimonial.
Rating, 5-star rating and review.
But also a comment. I'd love for you to comment and say what you like about the podcast or how it's helped you or something like that would be awesome. So when people come and they read your comment, it's helpful for them to say, this is worth spending our time on. And we so want to thank you for being here and listening. And Makena, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I will say too, that we love getting your feedback. Some of you email in to us and tell us the episodes you loved. It's great because otherwise we're creating this in a void. We have no idea who's listening until you tell us. And so you can always email us at support@wayofthemuse.com. Let us know what you're loving. Give us ideas for episodes. We've done that multiple times now. Somebody said, hey, what about this? And if it's a topic we really feel like we have something to share about, then we'll do an episode on those. Have been some of our most popular shows. So
It's true. Yeah.
Please reach out to us. We love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our episode for today, but let's not make it the end of our love story. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and think of some women in your life you'd love to share it with. And if you want to learn more about our events and programs, visit wayofthemuse.com. See you next time.